we discussed that a residual is nothing but error, right? So what is this error? How does this error will come? I have some actual marks, right? Suppose say I have 90 marks. I have obtained 90 marks in one of the subject, and if I ask, this is my actual marks, and if I ask someone, my parent, that okay, they asked me that okay, did you clear your exam? Then I said, yeah, I have cleared my exam and I got a good marks. Then they will ask me that okay, what actually the marks are. Then in turn I'll ask them that okay, you can guess the marks, how much I have obtained. And my parents say that maybe you got, they are just basically what, predicting. They are predicting like 80. Then I say, no, it's not a 80. Then they'll keep predicting some one or other number, right? So whenever they predicted a 80, it means that how much error they have made. They have made error of 10, right? Actual minus our prediction, predicted, whatever the data it is, right? So basically I don't say minus, it's a difference, right? So there is a error term, we can say that a 10 is the error term here, right? That 10 is nothing but a residual, right? So as you can see that the line what you are seeing over here, this is basically a predicted line. Whatever prediction we are going to make with the help of a linear regression, right? So that line what you are seeing, this one is a predicted line. But I have some actual numbers. Actual numbers will differ sometimes, and I would say most of the time, right? So this is basically my actual number, and the difference between this guy versus this guy is basically a residual, right? So this is basically we can call it as a residual, and here I have a number, actual number. This is our one more residual. Here we have a residual, here we have a residual, and here we have a residual. Just we are highlighted only a few points here. Now you can imagine that there is a data set which is having millions of observation. Then you can think of how many observations we'll be able to see, how many residuals we'll be able to capture, right? The line, the best fit line, what we call, we can call it as a best fit line. It means that, so whenever we call a line a best fit line, it means that it will always pass through us those points, right? Pass through those points, and the neighboring points are very close to this line. At the same time, it will minimize the residual. We always try to minimize the residual in a linear regression, right? So the points where I will be able to get a minimum residual, so that line is basically called a best fit line. And the difference between the actual data and the predicted data is basically a residual or a error term. Sometimes we call it as a cost function, error function, right? It depending upon different algo. So which algo you're using, and in a deep learning and other, we call it as a cost function, and different terms we use. But in linear regression, we use it as we call it as a residual, right? So, and if I want to write this residual, and how do I find this residual in terms of a formula? So here you can see a residual formula, and we know that a linear regression is simply nothing but mx plus c. So we know this term. So here we are trying to predict y. So in order to predict y, we are going to use a mx plus c. And if I want to understand, if I want to figure out what is the residual, so here is the formula. This is the residual. This is basically my actual number, and this is what? This is basically a predicted number, right? So y is equal to mx plus c. Here I'm going to replace that here, and actual minus predicted, right? So this is what we were discussing here, right? So the data what I'm going to get, that is basically a residual, right? So yeah, this is a very small session, or I would say small video regarding a residual. I hope you have got the idea what exactly is the residual. So going forward, we'll understand how residuals are, how they will help us to understand a different I would say how residual will help us to increase our model performance, and how to reduce the residual and things like that. We are going to discuss in the upcoming videos. So until then, stay tuned, and yeah, thank you. I will see you all in the next video. Thank you.